Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is Lesson 1. Lesson 1 we will go over the difference between accompany versus to keep somebody company. I've chosen this one because I've been teaching ESL for over a decade, and there's so many times I see students make this mistake, especially new students, and I often have to correct them. So one of the key ways to try to distinguish how to clearly use the difference between to keep somebody company and to accompany somebody is you should look at the definitions first. So to accompany somebody means to go with somebody someplace. So the majority of the time, or the far majority of the time, you're actually going out. You're going out of your home, you're going with somebody someplace, or you're going out of the office. To keep somebody company, you're spending time with somebody so they won't be lonely or they won't be bored. So again, the intent or the intention is you're worried about them being lonely or bored. So here's the perfect example. I accompanied my mother to the grocery store to help her carry packages home. Here, your main purpose is to express that you're just really going with her. Your mother probably went to the store many times on her own. She probably doesn't need you. You're not really worried if she is bored or lonely. But you might have a purpose. You might need to help her physically carry something home. So that's why you're going with her. You're going with her to some place. Or, I don't know, maybe you accompany your sister to the airport just to say goodbye, just to be nice. All right, and if we say to keep somebody company, well, let's look at the example of that. I kept my grandmother company so she wouldn't be home alone. Here the intent or the purpose is you're worried about her being lonely. She's at home, nobody's there, maybe you feel guilty, you feel sad about this, and you don't want her to be that way. So really that's why you would say that you keep somebody company. Or maybe there's an example that maybe you're over somebody's house and maybe nobody else speaks your language. And maybe they invited someone there just to talk to you. In that case, they were worried about you being bored. So again, we always use this to keep somebody company. All right, now I know I told you before that the far majority of the time you are actually going out. I did think of one possible example where maybe you might accompany somebody like within the same house. So accompany me to the living room while I tell you about the plans of the party. Now you're still going somewhere. You're going from one room to another room. So it still works with accompany. The main purpose is really just to give you information. Again, there's nothing about somebody being lonely or bored. That's not the intent. So you're actually walking with someone. You're going with someone. So you can never say, I often hear students say, I accompanied my mother at home when really, they really wanted to say they kept them company. So that would always be wrong if you say I accompanied my mother at home, because really, you should be going somewhere. Or you should at least be going from one room to another room. All right, another thing to note about the use of accompany, I've often seen students sometimes never use accompany with. This is always wrong. So if you say, I accompanied with my brother to the store, a native speaker will instinctively know this is not correct. He may still understand what you mean, but he will know it's not correct English. He probably won't say anything, but he knows that your English won't be correct, and that is what you want. You want to make sure that your English is more fluent or more perfect. You don't want people just to be nice. Okay, one other thing to note is also we could say to have company or have company over. So to have company over means to have a guest visit your home. So here's the perfect example. We are having company tonight. My husband is bringing his boss home for dinner. Again, most of the time when you're having someone over, it will probably be like a coworker, maybe a neighbor. It's definitely not somebody that lives in the house. They will never be company. Could it be a family member? Possibly, if it's maybe a distant relative that you only see once or twice a year. But if it's a relative that's visiting all the time, that's at the house 3 or 4 times a week, you probably won't refer to them as company. You'll just refer to them as, Uncle Joe or Uncle Bob or whoever they are. So I hope you can clearly see the difference now between all three. Remember, accompany means you're going with somebody someplace, you're leaving someplace the far majority of the time. To keep somebody company, the main key is being lonely or bored. I might even add one other one, maybe possibly emotional support. Maybe somebody broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, and you're worried about them being sad, so you might keep them company so they won't be alone, so they won't be lonely. So again, you are keeping them company. That's another one that you could possibly use to keep somebody company. All right, well, that just about wraps up the first lesson. I hope it's all clear. See you next time. Bye-bye.